What's poppin', guys? Welcome back to Sam Talk Sports. Let's talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. Man, oh man, they have been my surprise team of the NBA so far halfway through the NBA season. I mean, what they're doing is absolutely incredible. They're third in the Western Conference with 31 wins and 15 losses thus far, with a plus 3.9 point differential. They're even above the Utah Jazz, who they lost to in the first round last year, 4-1. And I, to be blunt, did not expect the Memphis Grizzlies to be such a quality team this fast. If you look at last season, they survived both playing games against San Antonio and Golden State, and they even won the first game against the Jazz, but like expected, the Jazz won the next 4 games quite easily. So preseason, I felt like the Grizzlies would be a playoff contender, but a lower seed, like a 5 to 8 seed type of vibe. But no, they are currently the 3rd seed, and I see them comfortably being in the top 4 seeds, 1 to 4, somewhere in there, likely 3rd or 4th at the end of the season. But I feel like the Memphis Grizzlies are the most underrated team in the league. They don't play in a big market, so I don't feel like national media is realizing just how incredible of a coaching job Taylor Jenkins is doing, and just how solid of a team the Memphis Grizzlies are. And I'll break down why I think this is the case. Purely just by the team stats, they're 4th in points per game with 111.8 points per game. Surprisingly, rebounds, they're 1st in the league for 8.3 rebounds per game, and 9th in the league with assists per game with 25.2. And they recently went on an 11-game win streak, and they have won 12 of their past 13 games. I mean, that shows that a team has really realized their potential. Because if you look at the player stats, one thing about the Grizzlies that stood out to me is how many solid players they have on their roster that can contribute on a nightly basis. Some teams, they kind of have a shorter rotation, like the Raptors this season. Yeah, they have injuries, but usually they go probably 7 or 8 deep. But I feel like the Grizzlies can go 12, 13, or even 14 player deep down the roster and still have guys that can contribute. If you look at the player stats, I was surprised at how many players was contributing to this team thus far this season. And first off, I want to mention that Dillon Brooks, when the Grizzlies went on this win streak, Dillon Brooks wasn't really part of that many games. He was injured, and he's expected to be sidelined 3 to 5 weeks with a sprained left ankle. So Dillon Brooks, which is a really solid player for the Grizzlies, he's been out. But I want to talk about Brandon Clark. He has been only playing 18 minutes per game, but look at that field goal percentage. Brandon Clark has been elite. Look at that player efficiency rating. Brandon Clark, I don't think a casual NBA fan would know who Brandon Clark is. And then obviously you got Ja Morant. He's in the MVP conversation, in my opinion. He's been so electric ever since coming to the Grizzlies. And when people thought that Zion was the consensus first pick, that's completely understandable. But now if we look at that draft, maybe Ja Morant should have went first overall, given his durability. He has played much more games. His position, he is able to influence the game in more ways, and he's looking like a real solid second pick, maybe even better than the first pick, which was Zion to the Pelicans. And he has been improving every single season. So watch out for the Memphis Grizzlies, man. And let's take a deeper dive into the Grizzlies roster. Ja Morant, Dillon Brooks, solid. Desmond Bane, solid. Another player who was just picked out of TCU. I don't think many NBA fans would know who Desmond Bane is and how good he has been. And Jaren Jackson Jr., solid. I mean, down the list, I think one word I can describe for every single player is solid, reliable, consistent. You can mix and match. You can play, Brandon Clark, or you can play Jaren Jackson. Same result. Dillon Brooks is out. Kyle Anderson, he can come and fill in. You know, Steven Adams has been solid at the center position. Xavier Tillman, same things. Zaire Williams, you know, Tyus Jones, Sam Merrill, even though he has barely played, but even down the lineup like Santi Aldama or Killian Tilly, these guys has all contributed. And if you look at the minutes per game for the Grizzlies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 guys on this roster has played over 10 minutes, and the least amount of games that they appeared in for one single player is 21 by Dylan Brooks, who was injured. Otherwise, next player is Aldama at 24 games. So the Memphis Grizzlies are really 1 through 15 deep if you include Jarrett Culver, who played 9.9 minutes per game. And that is an uncomfortable sight for other NBA teams because, you know, the NBA season, it's a marathon, and some teams, if they play the top players too much, even like the Nets, who's playing their big three when they're available a lot. KD has been averaging like 36 minutes a game, which I felt like is necessary because they're guaranteed locked to the playoffs, and they should be focused on winning the playoffs. A team like the Grizzlies, everybody's getting involved, everybody's getting a chance to play. They're gaining experience, they're gaining chemistry, and then this will allow their legs to be under them, and I feel like they won't be as exhausted going to the playoffs. You know, Ja Morant, the most important player on the team, has been only playing 32 minutes per game. No one else on the team has surpassed 30 minutes, so in terms of playing time, phenomenal management by the Grizzlies. And watch out for the Grizzlies, man. They do not seem to have that many like superstars, you know, besides Ja Morant. I wouldn't say anybody else is considered a superstar player, but they fit well, they mesh together, they play that grit and grind basketball. You know, we've seen from the Marc Gasol and Mike Conley days, you know, their popular slogan, grit and grind. I feel like they may not play the same style as that grit and grind era, but in terms of their defense and their energy, it's really similar. And I'm so happy for the Grizzlies, man. I mean, you know, when they had Gasol and Conley leading the team, they had 6-7 quality seasons. They made the playoffs each and every season, but they kind of experienced turmoil in the 3 seasons after that. You know, Gasol got traded away, Conley got traded to the Jazz, and they didn't make any of the playoffs in those 3 seasons. And then last year, they made the playoffs and they were able to experience the almighty Jazz. But look at how crazy the landscape of the NBA can change just from last season to halfway through this season. I mean, the Jazz and the Grizzlies, if they face off right here, right now, I got the Grizzlies coming out on top, you know? So, the Grizzlies, guys, notice them more because this is a team that shouldn't be slept on. They're the real deal. Taylor Jenkins has done a phenomenal job in his 3rd season as the Grizzlies head coach. And one final point I would like to end off on is this Grizzlies team is not going to go anywhere. They're going to be a contender in the NBA for years to come in the Western Conference. They're going to be a feared team. And if you look at Spot Rack, shout out to Spot Rack for providing the numbers. The core of this team is here to stay. You know, after the season, next season, in terms of the rotation, I wouldn't really consider Jarrett Culver part of the rotation. So, Cal Anderson, I think he could resign for an affordable price if that's how the Grizzlies want to, you know, approach the situation. And Tyus Jones, he's the backup point guard. I feel like the Grizzlies can find a cheap veteran, you know, on a veteran deal, 2-3 mil. And that veteran point guard can help the team a lot, maybe like a Rajon Rondo type, you know, having experience. So I feel like this team, especially with Ja Morant having still on his rookie deal for this season and next season, the Memphis Grizzlies are nearly there in terms of becoming a title contender. I don't think they're just there yet, but they keep building each and every season. I mean, next season, or 2023, 2024, Grizzlies finals. It's not that crazy of a prediction, you know. I like the Grizzlies. I love the way they're playing. and I can't wait to see what they do in the playoffs this season. Alright, that's it for this breakdown. Thank you guys so much for watching, and once again, don't forget to live a spicy life. Peace.